Hello, welcome to my channel WWE Pulse.
Every great wrestling company needs one. That guy that stands in the ring introduces the superstars and makes the whole thing feel important. But who is it? Well, let me tell you about ring announcer. Now, this position is perhaps the most underappreciated in all of professional wrestling. However, any wrestling fan worth their salt knows just how important this job actually is. Not only do they introduce the talent, but they're arguably the ones that make matches feel like a big deal. That is, because the right ring announcer can bring the heat by hyping up the crowd and adding a big fight feel to every match. This role has been filled by many over the years, some good, some bad, but none more iconic than the late, great Howard. In fact, when most people think of WWE ring announcer, there's only one that comes to mind. Think, and for good reason. After all, he was synonymous with the company for over 30 years. But who is the ring announcer? What makes the job so important? And who else has done the job throughout the years? Oh, you're about to find out. This is the ring announcer, and we'll be looking at the origins of the role. What makes a good ring announcer and the best to ever grace the squared circle, as well as learning about the man that started it all. Howard Fink. It's strange to think, but before the days of flashy entrances and elaborate production, the ring announcer's job was a lot different. Back then, they were simply there to announce the competitor.
Excellent.
Much like a boxing announcer. For example, here's an episode of Capital Wrestling from June 1963. During the match introductions, there's no music, no pyro, just two men standing in the ring waiting for their opponents to arrive. Those were simpler times for sure. But as time went on, things would change. As the WWF and later WWE began to grow, the need for larger-than-life entrances became apparent. As a result, superstars got more elaborate outfits and gimmicks, and the ring announcer had to raise their game in order to hype the audience for what they were about to see. For example, there was Bruno Sammartino, one of the biggest stars of the 1960s and 70s. To hype him up, they'd often play his theme and walk through the crowd as fans stood up and cheered. On occasion, though, they'd really spoil the surprise by announcing him before he even arrived. Talk about killing the suspense. But not everything was left to chance. You see, back in those days, the ring announcer was usually given a list of instructions detailing how to hype each superstar. This included what to say and even what to wear. So if a wrestler had a cowboy gimmick, the ring announcer might wear a cowboy hat or bandana to fit in. One example of this was the Von Erich family. As the American heroes, the ring announcer would always support them by wearing a Texas Ranger hat and even occasionally carrying a lasso. In fact, that wasn't even the only outfit he had. For example, here, he is dressed as Uncle Sam during a match against our fabulous Freebird. This was pretty common back in the day, as the ring announcer didn't have a consistent wardrobe. Instead, they dress up based on the storyline. In fact, this even extended to rivalries. For example, during the feud between Hulk Hogan and the Iron Sheik, the ring announcer wore either a red or black shirt. Red for Hulkamania and black for the Iron Sheik. Of course, there were exceptions to this, and on occasion, he'd show his support for certain wrestlers by wearing something special. Here he is, wearing a WrestleMania Dusty shirt. to support his friend, Pat Patterson. But while the duties of the ring announcer were important, they weren't exactly glamorous. In fact, at the time, they weren't even considered a part of the creative team. In fact, for years, they didn't even get credit for their work. That all changed in the 80s when WWE got a new ring announcer, Howard Finkel. After joining the company, Fink quickly made a name for himself. He introduced superstars with flair, interacted with the crowd and getting them involved. He even came up with the now famous and now, ladies and gentlemen, catchphrase. All of a sudden, the ring announcer was an integral part of the show. They were on camera regularly and even helped promote upcoming matches by hyping up the superstars. This close relationship with the talent meant that Fink knew more about the product than most. He even played a key role in helping wrestlers develop their characters. For example, he came up with the idea for the $1 Million Man to carry a briefcase filled with dollar bills to the ring. Not only did this add to Ted DiBiase's wealth gimmick, but it also gave fans a glimpse of what was inside. A keen eye for detail like this made Fink the perfect ring announcer. He could instantly make any match feel like a main event by making it personal, and he was a master at playing to the crowd. Perhaps his greatest contribution, though, was becoming a WWE legend in his own right. Thanks to his signature look and mannerisms, Fink became a fan favorite and a prominent member of the roster. In fact, he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2009. Sadly, he passed away in 2020, but his legacy lives on through WWE today. It's hard to imagine anyone filling Fink's shoes, but thankfully we didn't have to wait long to find out. Enter Mike Rome, the current ring announcer for WWE. After graduating from the WWE Performance Center, Rome made his main roster debut in 2016. He was the perfect choice to follow in Fink's footsteps. Not only did he know the business inside and out, but he could also emulate Fink's style without doing an outright imitation. Sure, there were some similarities, but Rome also brought something unique to the role. He was charismatic, confident, and knew how to connect with the audience. Plus, he had a solid grasp of the storylines and rivalries taking place on Raw, and all of this made him the ideal candidate to take over for Fink. And so far, he's done an excellent job. Rome's work in the ring is minimal. He usually sticks to making introductions and keeping things moving. But he does have a knack for knowing how to hype the crowd. Wow. Uses pulses, facial expressions, and hand movements to build anticipation. This allows the audience to fully embrace the spectacle of each entrance. But what makes Rome such a good ring announcer is his attention to detail. He knows the importance of every word he says and every move he makes. For example, during entrances, he interacts with the crowd by pointing and making eye contact. This helps establish a connection between the fans and the talent. By doing so, Rome becomes an integral part of the overall experience. He also understands the psychology of the rivalries taking place on WWE programming. This allows him to use the microphone to further the storylines and build anticipation for upcoming match. In addition, Rome has a strong presence in the ring. His body language and demeanor exude confidence and authority, which adds to the overall impact of the entrances and segments he's involved in. All these factors contribute to Rome's success as a ring announcer. He carries himself with professionalism and poise, which reflects positively on WWE as a whole. Overall, Mike Rome has proven to be a worthy successor to Howard Finn. He brings a unique blend of charisma, knowledge, and professionalism to the role of ring announcer, contributing significantly to the overall success of WWE events. So, who is the ring announcer? Well, it's the person responsible for introducing the superstars and adding a big fight feel to every match. Their job is to hype the crowd and make the event feel like a big deal. And they do this through their interactions with the audience, their knowledge of the product, and their ability to connect with the talent. The right ring announcer can make any match feel like a main event, and they are an integral part of the overall experience. Now you need to watch How Did WWE Become So Popular? Or watch What is WWE Really Like Backstage?
Okay guys, thank you for watching my videos.